Welcome into Chatterbox Reds. We have breaking Reds news on a Sunday. I'm Greg Kuffner. Thanks for watching Chatterbox Reds. The Cincinnati Reds have made a big decision when it comes to opening day. Andrew Abbott will be the Reds' opening day starter when the Reds take on the Boston Red Sox on March 26th. Coming into spring training, obviously, everybody thought Hunter Greene would be the opening day starter. But as we all found out this past week, Hunter Greene is currently dealing with an elbow injury, and it's looking very unlikely that he'll be ready to go when the season begins. Now, that's not confirmed. The Reds are still waiting to hear more. Hunter Greene's still waiting to get a second opinion. He went back to Cincinnati, and we're waiting to hear. We should hear something on that sometime this week. So, Hunter Greene's injury, what does that do? That opens the door for Andrew Abbott. Now, you thought it was probably going to be either Abbott or Lodolo. The Reds obviously went with Abbott. If there's a pitcher on the roster who's earned this opportunity, I think it's probably Abbott. He's entering his fourth season with the Reds. He's improved every single year. His stats kind of show that. In 2023, as a rookie, he made 21 starts and had an ERA of 3.87. He struck out 120 and 109 in the third innings. That's a really strong debut for a young pitcher who was thrown into meaningful games right away, because we know how exciting the 2023 Reds were. In 2024, he continued to take steps forward. He struggled down the stretch that season, kind of got tired at the end of the year, but overall still had a great year. ERA 3.72, 25 starts in 138 innings. Even with those late season struggles, Abbott kind of showed that he could handle a full workload and be a reliable part of the Reds rotation going forward. Then in 2025, which was clearly the best season of his career so far, Abbott got off to a terrific start at the beginning of the year. He was named an all-star for the first time in his career. Good for him. That was cool to see Andrew Abbott go pitch in the all-star game, go get to experience all the all-star festivities. So he made 29 starts last year and had an ERA of 2.87 to go along with 149 strikeouts and 166 in the third innings. So, like we've said, Andrew Abbott just keeps getting better and better. He's one of those guys when you see it's Andrew Abbott's time to pitch, or it's his day to pitch, you just feel like you're going to get a pretty strong outing. Whether it's 6 innings, 3 runs, or it's 7 innings, 2 runs, you don't feel like Andrew Abbott's just going to go and get knocked around for 10 runs or 8 runs or 6 runs or 4 runs, whatever it is. He just feels like he gives you consistency, and that's what you love to have in a starting pitcher. And now Andrew Abbott will have the honor to start on opening day. We know how big opening day is at Great American Ballpark and in the city of Cincinnati. It's basically a holiday, and Andrew Abbott will get the opportunity to start on that day. He spoke with the media on Sunday afternoon about what this means to him. Here's the quote. "Having the chance with all the talent we have on this team means a lot to me. Any of those guys deserve it. I'm excited to take the ball and give it my all." This quote, I think, says a lot about the culture inside the Reds rotation, inside the Reds clubhouse. Andrew Abbott, obviously a very humble guy. If you've ever heard him talk, he's a guy that he just goes out there and pitches, loves his teammates, loves to just have a good time. But he's right. This rotation's loaded with talent. Obviously, Hunter Greene, but he's hurt. Nick Lodolo, Andrew Abbott. You have Chase Burns. You have Rhett Lauder. You have Brandon Williamson fighting for a spot. Those are all arms that can continue to emerge. Some of them you could argue, even have more of a high upside than maybe Abbott does. But Abbott will be getting the ball on opening day. Now, Abbott hasn't been great so far this spring. He's given up 10 runs in just 7 1/3 innings this spring. It's important to note spring training numbers they don't always matter. But it's hard to be honest, it's hard to say what matters and what doesn't. Obviously, we're all excited that Sal Stewart and Ellie De La Cruz and Matt McClain are crushing the ball this spring. So we can't say we're excited about those, but then on the flip side say, oh, Andrew Abbott's numbers don't matter. But based on Abbott's quotes, and I'll read it to you here in a little bit, he basically says, like, hey, in spring training, we're working on things. We're doing different things that we wouldn't normally do in a regular season game. Here's his quote from his most recent outing when he kind of struggled. "I had way better command with my fastball and changeup," he said. I felt 2 pitches down, they destroyed them. That's what you're going to get in the league. Execution is still turning a corner. I got more swings and misses today. I was better in the zone. My changeup was way better. You can see incremental changes. Now it's about pitching like I'm going into the regular season. It's time to stop working on stuff. So, that last sentence is what I kind of said. It's time to stop working on stuff, which tells you pitchers they're trying different things. They're seeing what they can, if anything they did in the offseason, they can kind of get away with against live hitters. Um, they're not just going out there and simply like doing what they always do in the regular season. But towards the end of spring training, you sort of start to see that a little bit more. Guys start to compete a little bit more, really try to get outs instead of experimenting with things. And you kind of got that with Abbott's quote there. So, like I said, spring training numbers can certainly be misleading. Pitchers are kind of experimenting with different things, working on mechanics, focusing on command. Um, we'll see, but I'm not overly concerned with Abbott's spring training numbers. The most important thing is if he gets out of spring training healthy. Um, the Reds have been pretty lucky so far. Obviously, the Hunter Greene news isn't lucky. That's unfortunate. But outside of that, everybody's been pretty healthy. Knock on wood. Um, Blake Dunn has gotten hurt a couple times. He recently hyperextended his knee, but even that looked pretty bad. And they said he can only miss a couple days. So health is ultimately the biggest thing in spring training. And it sounds like he's starting to turn the corner. So all good things for Andrew Abbott. Now, let's talk about another part of this story. Hunter Greene. What does this mean for Hunter Greene? It likely means that Hunter Greene is out for opening day. As we've all heard, again, Green's dealing with an elbow injury that actually started around the stretch run last season, which is scary to hear. He got a shot after the season instead of opting for surgery. It's kind of what him and his team and the doctors, everybody kind of decided. Everybody was involved. It wasn't just a Hunter Greene decision. But the elbow continued to bother him this spring. This is a long quote, but I think it's important for context and for people to hear, so I'm just going to read it. I had this towards the end of last season. Last year, in my final 5 or 6 starts, I had elbow discomfort. It was a playoff push, so I pushed through it. I felt fine in the offseason. I got an injection. About a week before spring training started, the discomfort came back. I've been managing it through camp so far. We're going to check and get it looked at. It makes sense to do it now. I know I have bone spurs. As of now, there's no UCL damage. Hopefully, it's just that, and we get that taken care of, and I can get back out there. We have one of the best pitching staffs in baseball. I'm a big part of that. I want to go out there and compete with the guys. Hopefully, I can still make a good amount of starts and not really miss a good chunk of the season. And most importantly, the playoff push. Hopefully, this is quick. I still have to check with the doctors. But again, right now, we don't know how long Hunter Greene will be out. Obviously, he's probably going to miss the start of the season. The encouraging part is that Greene mentioned there's no UCL damage. That's something Reds fans are definitely relieved to hear. I'm definitely relieved to hear it. If this ends up being more about managing bone spurs or inflammation, there's a chance he could return sooner than later, but we really don't know more than that as of now. Again, we'll likely hear something this week. And that's where Andrew Abbott steps in to become the opening day starter. And that's why Abbott and Lodolo will be huge parts of this rotation to kind of carry the load while Green's out. Now, there's also one other interesting thing I wanted to hit on before we hop off of here. Mark Sheldon went live or had an article go live on over the weekend about his roster projection. I think it was 2.0, maybe 3.0. He had a couple of interesting decisions or points, predictions, whatever you want to call it. First one I wanted to talk about, he had J.J. Bleday making the team and Nathaniel Lowe not making the team. And I don't think that's crazy. I think J.J. Bleday's had a fantastic spring. He's competing with guys like Will Benson and Nathaniel Lowe. While Lowe has less defensive versatility, I do keep saying, I've said this multiple times, but I just feel like Lowe, he's won a World Series. He's won a Gold Glove. Like, he's a veteran. It just feels like he's a Terry Francona guy. So I truly think Nathaniel Lowe is going to make this roster. But who knows? The trio of Bleday, Benson, and Lowe have all been fantastic this spring. Bleday's been the best. He's hitting 353 with 2 extra base hits. Benson's cooled down a little bit lately, but he's hitting 235 and still has a very strong OPS of 969. Lowe hitting 235, and he has an OPS with 904. So guys are all really hitting the ball hard. What's interesting here, or what'll be interesting if there's no injury that makes them force them into a decision, almost like the rotation with Green's injury, they don't have to choose between Chase Burns and Rhett Lauder. They're most likely both going to make the rotation. So if one of these three guys get hurt, you just fill the other two in. There's usually always something like that that makes these decisions easier. But if there isn't one, it'll be interesting to see who the Reds pick out of those three players. I don't know. I truly think that Daniel Lowe will make the roster. I like to think Benson will. Blade, I believe, has minor league options, which helps. I don't know. There's still a lot of spring left, a couple weeks, 2.5 weeks or so left of spring training. So we'll see what happens. And then one other surprise in his prediction is he had TJ Antone and Kyle Nicholas both making the opening day roster over the likes of Sam Moll, Connor Phillips, Luis May, and Zach Maxwell. While Connor Phillips certainly hasn't looked his best this spring, it would be pretty surprising for me if he didn't make the opening day roster after how well he pitched down the stretch last season. However, he's a guy that doesn't throw strikes all the time, and I know Terry Francona doesn't have the patience for that. Luis May and Zach Maxwell have been pretty bad this spring. They seem destined for AAA Louisville with how they've struggled. One of the more interesting situations is TJ Antone. Like, he has been great this spring. He's not currently on the 40-man roster, so the Reds would have to make a roster move. I also think it's very interesting to see what they do with Sam Moll. Sam Moll is a guy, he would be the third Reds left-hander down the bullpen. They already have Caleb Ferguson. They already have Brock Burke. Moll's been good this spring. I think he's a guy that if you designate for assignment, it's almost guaranteed that Sam Moll would be picked up by a team off waivers. When healthy, Moll's shown that he's probably one of the better left-handed relievers in baseball. So the question is it worth losing a pitcher with the upside of Sam Moll when there are plenty of guys with minor league options remaining? So that's why I kind of think Sam Moll will make the opening day roster when the Reds face the Red Sox on March 26th. Again, Sheldon also had new Red Kyle Nicholas on the roster. That doesn't surprise me. He has good stuff. The Reds traded for him for a reason. We haven't got to see him yet. He's pitching for Italy in the World Baseball Classic, so I'm excited to get to see him. But just some interesting things I wanted to talk about. Before we wrap things up, we want to talk about DSC. They always sponsor our deep drive of the day. DSC is a leader in renewable commodities for biofuels production, specializing in used cooking oil collection, aggregation, and sales. Visit www.deepsouthcommodities.com for more information. Thanks as always to our friends at DSC. We also want to remind you that you can call or text 988 anytime, day or night. The 988 Suicide and Crisis Lifeline is a place to get support for anything related to mental health, whether it's immediate crisis, simply wanting to find out how to connect with care, or anything in between. It's 100% confidential, secure, and anonymous way to reach out for help when you don't know where else to turn. To connect, call or text 988 or mantherapy.org to get help. It's okay not to be okay. All right, let's wrap things up. The Reds have officially named Andrew Abbott as their opening day starter against the Boston Red Sox. It's a well-earned opportunity for a pitcher who's improved every season since joining the Reds. With the news surrounding Hunter Greene's elbow injury is something certainly we'll all continue to monitor closely. There's still a lot to like about this pitching staff heading into the season. If Abbott continues to do what he did last season when he was an all-star, the Reds should feel very confident in handing him the ball for opening day. We'll keep you updated as more information comes out regarding Greene's injury and the final roster decisions as opening day gets closer. But if you enjoyed the video, make sure you like the video, subscribe to our channel, and hit the little bell so you don't miss any Cincinnati Reds coverage. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time. And as always, go Reds.